This is Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom, words on leadership, goal setting, productivity, and a whole lot more. I trust today will be like a vitamin or a supplement for your mind and heart. And wherever you receive podcasts from, would you please subscribe to Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom, leave a rating and a brief written review. It will enable other excellent people just like you to be able to locate this podcast. Thanks for all of your help. I want to speak today to you about finishing the year strong. Now, I have no idea when it will be in the future that you'll be listening to this. It could be several years down the road. But we are coming down to the end of the year in my country in which we have had a pandemic, a contentious, chaotic election, and several other events that have made this as stressful a year as anyone can remember in a long time. And regardless of how well you may have started and how well-intentioned you were with the plans, the goals, the dreams, and the aspirations that you ascribed to at the beginning of the year, everyone, and I literally mean everyone, was thrown off track. We had to learn how to hunker down. We had to learn, many of us, how to work from home. Lots of our plans were put on hold. There were weddings without people, funerals without folks there to grieve in person, schooling done at home, graduations that became only a mere shadow of what we normally think of as a graduation. And so now, as we're just a few weeks away from the end of the year and still in the midst of a lot of this chaos and calamity, how do we finish the year strong? My imagining is that a lot of things that you really thought you would get accomplished this year did not happen. So how can we, in these month and a half or so left in the year, how can we finish the year strong? I'm reminded of a race in Greek, the ancient Greeks had in their Olympic Games, that was unique and you rarely ever hear it talked about. This was a particular race that the winner was not the runner who finished the race. It was the runner who finished with his torch still lit. Here's what my goal for myself and for you would be for the remainder of this year. It really doesn't matter if we are the first ones across the finish line. It'll be a winning year if we cross the finish line with our torch still lit. Well, let's look at, maybe 8 or 9 things that we can do that we should think about in order to finish the year strong. The first one is you have to have a clarity of purpose. Yes, things can happen. Our plans change. Things are derailed. But right now, as you're looking toward the end of a year and the beginning of a new year, we have to focus on what's important, what's our purpose, what really matters to us. Even bad days are a gift. Even days that didn't turn out as we planned are an opportunity to add value to those around us and to make a difference in our world. So look and see and make sure that you have a purpose worth living for. If there's one thing that 2020 has done for us, and that is it's given us a sense of resilience. And in order to be resilient, you have to finish strong. It's all about attitude more than anything. Yes, things have been bad. I know there have been, for nearly everyone listening, reverses, things not working out the way you wanted. There's been a myriad of problems, including a mental health crisis. We have to be resilient. We have to pick ourselves up, keep moving, dust ourselves off. If you're a person of faith, you have to ask God to give you grace and determination and mercy to continue to make it through. In the midst of all that maybe has gone wrong in your life, could you pause for a few moments and look at some of the things that have gone right, that you have been able to achieve, that you're still alive, still functioning, still moving forward? I think this is a time when it is easy for us to get our lives totally out of balance because everything, and I literally mean everything, seems up for grabs. So it's a good time to make sure we're keeping that work-life balance. That has really been difficult for many as you're working out of your home. You've become a teacher at the home trying to help your kids get their schooling done. And it's really difficult to see where work stops and family begins or vice versa. But at this time, you didn't do it perfectly. I didn't do it perfectly, nor has anyone. But let's just also remember it's hard to take a vacation when you're going to be taking a vacation in the same place you've been working for months. You've been doing school and doing life together with your family. But it may just be that you need to take some time off and recharge your batteries. You've got to tap into your mind, your spirit, your health, and make sure you keep that balance. Another tip or thing that I think you ought to remember as you try to finish the year strong is it has been a year unlike any year in which we have lost our focus at times because of all the things that have happened outside of our control have had to take our focus. There have been things in our lives that it's not wrong, we just had to focus on them. But here as you're coming down to the end of the year, make sure that as you think about moving forward, you are focusing on the important things, your faith, your family, your work, your health. Keep your focus. It's very easy when you're discouraged. It's very easy when you're depressed, feeling high anxiety to lose your focus. I believe another thing that we can do as we're working our way down to the end of the year is let's begin to express appreciation. Why don't you make an attempt every day to write someone a note, a text, an email, send someone a gift? Just start sowing appreciation. I feel like people are so discouraged, don't know what to do, that it would be extra special if we could just express appreciation to each other and for the jobs that this year has done. I think it's a good time to make a list of goals and accomplishments from this past year. We are focusing right now on what we weren't able to accomplish, all of the things that passed us by and that we didn't get accomplished. Why don't you just take time, even when you're done listening to this podcast, why don't you write down all the things that did take place this year, all the things you were able to accomplish? Most leaders focus on what's been left unsaid and undone, unfinished, what we never were able to get around to. And there'll be no year like this year where that will happen in enormous amounts. So rather than focusing on that, why don't you purposely take out and write out, what have I accomplished? Let me just tell you this. If you are still alive and still putting one foot in front of the other, yay, go team, go. You are an overcomer. That, my friend, is an accomplishment in a year like this. So make a list. Did you get your kids graduated up to another level? Did you make it? Did you pay something off? Did you accomplish something? Did you bring a project in under budget and on time? Rather than looking at the things that were left undone, celebrate the things that were done. The other thing that I'm looking at, there are a couple of things especially that I was really looking forward to accomplishing. And I have to tell you, I've had to wrestle with this myself, and that is, I can't become so attached to the outcome that I let it rob me of the victory. I may not have accomplished everything that I set out to accomplish at the beginning of the year, but there are victories all along the way. I am farther along with them than I was 11 months ago. I am closer to attaining them than I was 6 months ago. And the fact is, there have been some victories. Stop and count your blessings, and don't let the fact that you weren't able to get it all accomplished force you to feel like you've been a failure and you haven't been a victorious leader this year. Another, right along with that needs to be said is, This would be a good year for us to focus again on the progress and not perfection. Uh, a lot of things may have gotten done, but they may not have been done always to your typical standards. And it's great to have standards, so I'm not knocking that. But what I'm saying is, if you have progressed at all in this year, you are really doing a super good job. So, why don't you look over some of the things that you really had intended and hoped and dreamed that you would get accomplished this year? And why don't you just say, I didn't get it all done, didn't happen the way I wanted to, but I'm thankful for the progress that I've made. There are three words that begin with the R that I would really commend to you as we're coming down to the end of what has been and still is in many, many ways a difficult year. Are you ready? Reset, recharge, and recommit. Let's just once in a while know that we have to pull out the button, the reset button, and just hit it. If there ever was an entire year that's a mulligan, it would be this year. And so instead of crying over spilled milk, instead of saying, oh, if only this and only that, but this happened and that happened, maybe the best thing we can do coming down to the end of the year, and you really even have some days left where you could do that, is just push the reset button and say, let's have a do-over. Let's try this again. Let's reset. The other is recharge. Recharge is really more of something to you, for you and I, as on a personal level, is do we need to recharge our spiritual batteries, our mental batteries, our physical batteries? Are you just exhausted? Why don't you take some of this time between now and the end of the year just to get yourself recharged? And then it's a good time to look around. It may be that this year was a great year that really taught us what was valuable and what wasn't. And maybe there are some things that you had left undone or unsaid that you really, upon further review, ought to really recommit yourself to. So take some time between now and the end of the year and reset, recharge, and recommit. You see, commitment always has to precede action. You notice I didn't say, well, just start doing something, take an action. I'm always in favor of that. But I believe in the difficult year that we've had, the best strategy right now would be is I'm going to commit, I'm going to recommit, and before I start just taking action just to do something, I'm going to recommit to those things that are really a priority. And that's going to take you some planning, dreaming, praying, looking over the things that you want to do, maybe things that you were not able to do this year, but perhaps even some of the things you weren't able to do this year all of a sudden have started fading away and you realize they really weren't that significant or that important. I think we have also learned that we all have limitations. We have them mentally, emotionally, and physically. And it'll be a good time between now and the end of the year to start learning to say no. You just cannot do it all. You cannot have it all. There are some things that you just need to say no. Maybe there's a little short sprint goal there on your list of things you've not been able to actually get accomplished this year. And the best thing that you could do is just to take some bold action, something that you can do for the remainder of this year. And then the last thing that I'm going to say to you is be relentless. Do not let this so discourage you that you just pick up your ball, go home, give up, throw in the towel, say, I've had enough, I can't do it anymore, I can't take any more of this, I'm done. Instead of doing that, pray, get the rest, recalibrate, get your focus, start expressing appreciation, make a list of the goals and things that you were able to accomplish this last year. Don't allow the perfect to rob you of the sense of victory that in the midst of all of this, you still got some significant things done. Please reset, recharge, and recommit. Don't just jump in and start taking actions wildly, but commitment always has to precede action. So commit or recommit. Maybe you're overextended for this kind of a period in life and you just need to learn to say no. And when you decide what it is you're going to do, you need to learn to act boldly and just be relentless. Make sure that you don't just give up. My friend, if there's ever been an illustration of what our year has been like, it's one of those ancient Olympic races that the Greeks were famous for. And you may be envious of someone who was able to really accomplish some things and get a lot of things done this year. And you might even say, I wish that was me. Here's my goal for myself and you. I don't know where I will finish this race of this year. I may even, as the people in the stands look at the racers, I may come in last. But at this point, I'm not worried about the position that I come in. I want to make sure that my torch is still lit, I'm still in the game, and I'm still moving forward. You have been listening to Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom, words on leadership, goal setting, productivity, and a whole lot more. I trust today this is like a vitamin or a supplement for your mind and heart. And wherever you receive podcasts from, would you please subscribe to Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom? Leave a rating and a brief written review. My weary leadership friend, I want you to remember and hear this as if you're hearing it for the first time. I don't care who you are, where you are, or what's happening. One thing I know is you are doing better than you think you are. You really, truly, absolutely are. And until next time, this is Dr. Ron saying have a great and blessed day.